Mark Zuckerberg is offering tens of millions, hundreds, and sometimes $1 billion total packages to the very best AI talent. So the cost of employees in AI is just outrageous right now.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the AI Download. I'm your host, Shira Lazar. Today, we're zooming out on one of the biggest questions in AI right now, besides the existential crisis of it ruining humanity. Where's the money going? Where's the smart money going? 2025 has already seen billions pour into AI startups, from infrastructure to applications. With so much hype, how do you know which ideas will actually make it? We'll be diving into that with a very special guest today. But before we get into that, today's episode is brought to you by AI Venture Lab, where intelligence takes shape. Powered by INSEAD, they're rethinking how startups are built in the age of AI, and their AI Founder Sprint connects founders from around the globe with world-class mentors, proven frameworks, and a community that's building the future. These guys are amazing, trust me, and you could actually get your company created with them. If you're ready to build with AI at the foundation, head to venture-lab.ai to learn more. That's venture-lab.ai to learn more. Link in the show notes and description. Also, Hivelighter. They're your AI-powered reading assistant, bringing you smart, personalized insights so you can spend less time scrolling and more time doing. Okay, let's get into it. Our special guest today, I've known for a while. He's an amazing human and very smart. Jeremiah Owyang is a Silicon Valley-based venture capitalist and tech consultant who focuses on AI and disruptive tech. He's a general partner at Blitzscaling Ventures, where he leads early-stage AI investments. He's also the founder of Llama Lounge, the biggest AI event community in SF. We're getting into how he spots the winners, the signals that matter most to investors right now, and yes, why AI agents are getting so much attention, from transforming customer service to reshaping how we work. Jeremiah, welcome to the AI Download. I'm so excited to have you here. It's great when I get to bring friends on the show who are just really smart and awesome.
Well, thanks. It's great to be back.
The New York Times just reported, this was a pretty big headline, kind of controversial, that companies, as you know, have poured billions into AI without a clear payoff yet. So are we in an investment before payoff stage? And how do you decide when to double down versus wait?
At the same time, Shopify, which claimed earlier this year to be AI first, and they're not hiring any new employees unless you can prove that you cannot do it with AI. They had a record earnings call, and they generated far more revenue. They reduced the number of people. They're more efficient. We can assume that it's probably processes plus AI. It's not AI only. There's definitely examples of companies that are doing that.
It's interesting because obviously the big companies that are the AI companies, I would say they're getting a payoff. Probably they're making a lot of money. Also, it takes time. A lot of this stuff has been implemented, over the past year or two?
Yes. And to
right?
redo your entire processes at a big, giant corporation of somebody who's been working there for 10 plus years, they're resistant to change. Let's be honest.
Add in the political issues happening right now, the economy. I mean, there's so many layers of things changing at once. To say, where's the payoff? We all know, if you're a consultant going into a company to really move the needle, you probably won't see any real change within at least 6 months to a year.
If that.
And that's one person.
Yeah, I agree.
So imagine a shift of an entire organization.
I think you're right. And so here's what we're seeing in Silicon Valley is there's a group of young startups that are under 5 years old that they're called lean AI startups. And there's a leaderboard called the Lean AI Native Startup Leaderboard that Henry runs. These companies are generating millions of dollars per employee. So each employee can generate millions of dollars. And they typically have 22 employees. So we've never seen that level of profitability from these AI startups because they're using AI for everything they possibly can. There's this culture called AI first culture in Silicon Valley and AI wherever you are around the world if you're a startup, where if you have a problem, you first turn to an AI. Maybe it's an AI off the shelf or one that exists, and you use that. Now, if it doesn't exist, then you build it. And if you're not technical, you use the no-code vibe coding tools. And if that doesn't work, then you hire a human. So we're seeing the AI startups are practicing this process of being AI first. They're just native to do that. And by the way, the really good AI startups, they never say we're AI first. They don't have to say it at all. It's just who they are. If you think about those companies are growing so fast, generating millions of dollars per employee, and the traditional companies are generating hundreds of thousands of dollars, that's their future competition. They need to to prepare for what's coming.
There's so many questions from that.
Yeah.
One, if an employee knows that they're generating over $1 million, do you think that's gonna shift what they're asking for or their equity structure or something like that?
Ooh, that's a big topic here in the Valley because Mark Zuckerberg is offering tens of millions, hundreds, and sometimes $1 billion total packages to the very best AI talent. So the cost of employees in AI is just outrageous right now. I haven't seen anything like that before.
What do you need to do, and who do you need to be to get that type of job? Like, what should people prep to get that type of job?
People who design the actual AI architecture and programs, the most senior engineers, there's actually not a lot of them. There's maybe thousands of people that have that skill set. It's not 100,000s, it's not millions of people. There's only a few people that have actually built models. And there's a very limited time to build a foundation model and change the world. It's just like 2-3 years. And so they have to spend all this money because if they don't and they're fourth, fifth place, then those tech companies are dead. So they have to spend whatever it takes to get the talent at this time
That's gonna make it so much more competitive.
for the
Wow.
short term.
But then do you think that the whole thing with the AI era is that it's democratizing stuff, right? But then if these people, these individuals you desperately need, you need to pay them so much, is it gonna just go back to the bigger companies at this point?
So yes, and there's a lot of startups. So what's also happening is there's a lot of layoffs right now in tech. And so the first thing that those people do is they launch AI startups. And I see it because I run an event for AI founders and I'm seeing all the data coming in. There's a website that's a database that tracks all the startups, Shira. It's called there'sanAIforthat.com. Naturally, that's the perfect domain for it. And it's about 40,000 AI projects. So it means there's lots of startups that are emerging and they have an opportunity. Those startups, their chances are obviously more challenging than going to work at a big company to make millions of dollars, but they own their own destiny and they're not making Mark richer, right? And they're crafting something new and can build it on their own. And also there's a lot of really successful AI builders that are already wealthy. And so the money from Mark doesn't really matter. They want to go and do something and build and make their mark in the universe. They want to make a dent in the universe, to quote Steve Jobs.
Right. You also mentioned you either build something on an AI tool like, OpenAI,
Yeah.
or you build your own thing.
Yes.
As an investor, building on something else, does that make it less valuable, though? That's what I think in my head because you don't really own it.
There's a term for that called an AI wrapper, not like
Yeah.
rap star, but like you just have wrapped somebody else's technology around yours and
Yeah.
it's not strong. It's not a powerful moat. I spoke to an audience a few weeks ago, mostly founders, AI founders, and I asked them to raise their hand. How long does a technical moat last in tech, in AI? Is it decades, years, quarters, months, or weeks? And the most common answer was months because an AI company could build a new feature and then destroy them. So they don't have long. There's three things that we tend to look for. First of all, before the three things is, are they an amazing founder that can change and pivot and are they smart? Like that's what we look
Yeah.
for. Do they have access to proprietary IP that nobody else does? That's very valuable. Or two, does the product spread on its own viral effects? That means they can grow across the market at low cost. And there's a third thing that we look for that enables loyalty called network effects. This means that the value increases as every new user joins. So like eBay, any social network, Airbnb, Uber, those have network effects. As every new driver comes, more riders want to come and vice versa. So we're looking for those types of things. And we think that the business strategy is just as important, if not more important than the technology, because that's actually going to be enduring. Because the technology, they're just doing arms fighting, this battle. Every single few weeks, there's an announcement. That's not really a way to win.
Yeah, and then the worry is how many of these companies started these virtual clothing apps like AI, and then Google just announced theirs. Do you think all those companies are now just done?
Industry's just getting wiped out from a simple
Yeah.
feature from the tech giants. That happens a lot. When we talk about the network effects, that often results in you having a customer community. That's one of the strategies. Or you have a bunch of data that nobody else has. If you can get all the creators on one platform, that's sometimes more important than the features of the platform, right? Because
Yeah.
they're there and their audience is there and the creators promote that. The audience comes and it creates this virtuous circle, right? So that's kind of the things we're looking for. That's more powerful. So that is the strategy to think about.
And what you're referencing is what we invested. You're referencing blitzscaling, the
Yes.
company that you started with, the one and only Reid Hoffman, of course, LinkedIn. He started LinkedIn. He's done so many other things. He was an investor in Airbnb,
And
one of the first,
yes.
right? The
So
leading one.
I'm not a founder of the firm. My good friend for 20 years, Chris Ye, is the founding partner, along with Scott Johnson and Jeff Abbott. And Reid Hoffman, yes, the creator of LinkedIn and PayPal Mafia, he is the major LP investor, and he also advises and he reviews the deals before we invest. And we get to invest in Reid's new projects as well.
You learn from him in terms of how he looks at investments.
So we are executing off Reid's investment thesis, what we earlier talked about. Look, we're looking for those products that can have viral effects and spread and also have network effects. So you think about the things that Reid has invested in or built: PayPal, Facebook, Airbnb, LinkedIn, OpenAI. They all have those. So we're applying that same exact investment strategy and thesis into the startups that I'm looking for and bringing to the firm for evaluation. So it's exactly the same.
So, what companies are catching your eye right now?
Let's talk about the ones that I've placed bets on. So the one that's
Yeah.
growing really fast is Crew AI, and their open source agent software for large companies. They are in 60% of the Fortune 500, which is incredible, but the company is only around 20 months old. Now, here's the other shocking thing. They only have 30 human employees approximately. That's incredible, right? But they
Yeah.
have over 300 AI agents that are doing the jobs: scheduling, sending out content, competitive research. They use AI agents for everything. I was watching a video of the chief of staff and salespeople. They don't know how to code. They're using the tools.
No way.
Yeah, absolutely. So everybody's required to use the tools in the company. That's part of the culture. That's wild to see that a company so young, few employees, already in 60% of the Fortune 500. So that's one of the investments that we are really tracking and excited about.
How much do you put in usually?
Sure. My average size check from the firm is $500,000 to $1 million, which is pretty small in the world of VC. So we're an emerging fund, a rather small fund, and we try to put in at around the seed stage. So when the companies are pretty young. We're often putting money next to a much larger firm, maybe from Sand Hill, that's putting in tens of millions, 20 millions or more. And so we are a smaller player, but we like to add a lot of value and help the founders in ways that they cannot.
You ever take checks for your rounds where it's like, okay, we're putting in 500 and you have some strategics that could give you like 25 to 100?
That's up to the founder to choose, but yeah, for sure. Like there's strategic angels or famous founders or thought leaders, they already put money in there. So, and we're next to them, and I see that. So that happens often.
So Jeffrey Hinton, he's known as the godfather of AI.
Yeah.
He just said that tech companies should make AI models with maternal instincts.
I saw that video.
And this would be to counter the tech's tendency to seek control, I guess, because that's considered more paternal, more male. And there are a lot of men making this tech, I guess. So what do you think about this statement?
I think the general concern right now, and Jeffrey's been saying this for a number of years after he left that big tech company, is he's concerned about the fate of technology. And well, he was one of the ones to create it. So I understand why he wants to ensure that his legacy isn't just about generating revenue from some Wall Street backed company. I get that. You have to understand, what does that really mean to be maternalistic? There's a lot of permutations of it, but I think the general thing is to be caring and loving and not try to gain all the resources and leave other people outside of that sphere, like with nothing. And I think that's the general concern, that AI will become so powerful that the humans will be left behind. Regulation in Europe is trying to prevent that. But one of the challenges against that is that these are giant tech companies that are publicly listed and they have to move as fast as possible. The belief is that the first company to achieve AGI, equivalent to human intelligence across every topic, will end up controlling most or everything. But in reality, there will be multiple companies that will have achieving that capability of AGI, so it won't just be one. But I do think there is concerns that many people will be left behind.
Why can't we be in the race and go quickly while making sure we're creating a foundation of ethics and morals, and that's embedded in the AI? I don't get why it's one or the other.
I think it can be blended and can be both. In the end, these companies still have customers that have to pay them, whether they're individuals like people we know or small businesses or large companies. So they have to make sure that everybody does win that are, this is the customer base. So I don't see why that can't be part of that. The other concern that countries have at country level is if there's one country that gains this and they have nefarious reasons, a whole set of civilization could be under somebody else's thumb. And so that's also a worry. So this quickly becomes value-based, purpose, beliefs, religious, political, and this is a race. We haven't seen anything like this since the Cold War. And so I think Jeffrey raises good points, and the leaders, whether that's the tech companies, the giant tech companies, or the government leaders, have a role in helping to decide like how will this play out. Ultimately, I think they have most of the control to make the decisions here. This is something that we'll see unfold.
Yeah, how do we make sure that it plays out in the best way possible? I guess this is beyond our control. Feels like there's something maybe we can control on our end, but I don't know. I don't know where that balance is between innovation and regulation. Do you? Or how do you envision it?
You're a stakeholder, I'm a stakeholder because we're using the technology. So if everybody agrees on one thing and if, for example, there's like documents signed or a protest or boycotts, then that's how you sway. You sway with your voice, you sway with your dollars, you sway with your time, you sway with where you put your content, where you read your content. But most of the power is, I believe, over AI with government and the execs at Fortune 500s, whether the tech Fortune 500 or traditional companies. I think they have a lot of the power on where this is going to go out. Even if I said, me, a small VC, said, hey, this is the direction we should go, I'm not going to be swaying the administration or government
I know.
leaders.
I just wanted your thoughts as someone who's smart. If you were like, okay, this is what I think could work.
Yeah. What we're also seeing is that each country or regions, they're putting out their own regulations, and the AI companies would have to abide or negotiate through those. And we see Europe doing that quite a bit. And we'll see how the large tech AI companies respond to that.
So you mentioned Crew, this one that you found, and obviously your thesis.
Yes.
So what is the key to spotting a great AI investment in 2025? Has your checklist changed since the early hype cycle? And also, I want to know your advice to those pitching you.
Mm-hmm.
Good pitch and a bad pitch.
Yes. Okay. So in the end, we're looking for amazing founders. They're articulate. They can share a vision. They have ability to sway the market, their customers, their users, or other investors. Like, that's a great sign. Do they have the right background? Are they smart? Do they understand AI? Can they move and shift fast? There's ways you can test that. And then also there's questions that I will ask when I have a quiet time with the founder, like to find out their true motivations and intent. I want to understand what really drives him or her. And that's actually really important. And I already talked about the 2 business strategies that we're looking for, right? Viral effects, network effects. So that's key to our thesis. Every VC firm has a different thesis. And that actually brings up the next point. I think that's key for any founder that's pitching to a VC is to first understand the thesis of that particular VC. Some VCs publish their thesis like we do. It's very public and there's actually a book, but even on our website, we have the scorecard on what we look for, and a company has to get 80 points out of 100. And people actually send us I ran my company's pitch deck through OpenAI and they said we would score 82 points, which is above the threshold. We should talk. I'm like, all right, they did some work here. And so that's a great way to have that first conversation.
Is it emailing you, seeing you in person? I mean, people could get really intense trying to get money.
So usually VCs are looking for a couple of touch points. I go to 3 AI events per week. I was at one last night.
Yeah.
And then I host one. And I put people on stage and they demo, and that's a way for me to test them. A warm intro from somebody I trust, that I will often take the call in the meeting or at least review things. So there's just a number of ways that I can get to understand and know those folks. And sometimes we get to know each other, but the timing's wrong. Their funding cycle's over, or they're not raising till next year. That happened last night. And so we just stay in touch, keep updates, and then we go around. Because I have capital to deploy for multiple years. That's the way our schedule works. So I'm just waiting and watching in some cases. One founder, very short-sighted, it wasn't a fit at that time. And I said, hey, can you keep me posted? And he responded back with one word, no, period. I was like, okay.
OMG. Like, that's not thinking ahead.
Yeah.
Or just have any sort of bigger picture.
So I wrote a paragraph out, but I didn't publish it. And I said, okay, why not? And he goes, well, if you don't believe in me now, you'll never believe in me.
Oh my God. Did something happen to him that day or that week? Obviously, things feel personal. They're not. And there's so much happening on the other side that you do not know.
Yeah.
And it's just like, the world does not revolve around you.
And sometimes like his company could evolve and then its thesis aligned, then, maybe he would write a check, right?
I feel bad because that's like people self-sabotage.
Also, this is important. VCs talk to each other. Like, I run a private WhatsApp group for about 100 VCs. We talk to each other. So, But founders talk to each other. They rate and rank us too, right? So it goes both ways.
So we've also seen a lot of high profile AI missteps lately.
Mhm.
I mean, no surprise. Meta, who is trying to lead the way, they're facing backlash for the AI guidelines on sensual chats with minors. This
Yikes.
is just wild. They also hired right wing activist Robbie Starbuck as an AI bias advisor.
Wow.
Is there something we don't know in how they interviewed him? Maybe they found some sort of special sauce. I don't know.
So, at a broad level,
Sketchy.
you can see the tech industry is leaning right given the new administration. And so, last week I did have a chuckle when a famous tech CEO from one giant company went to the White House and gave a gift made out of gold, right? I saw that. I was like, wow.
Apple.
Yeah, that might be it. The CEOs, their job is to win, and they're supposed to work with that whatever government is in play. And even if it doesn't align with that, they owe this to their shareholders who are backing them is to make the right fiduciary responsibility. So it's just part of the trend that we see here in Silicon Valley is it's starting to lean right. When you look further, you can see that the tech industry is deep within the White House, advising. In fact, the vice president is a former VC.
You know, when you have someone like Meta, their AI is having sensual chats with minors. A company like that, how do they mess up at that level? I
Oh,
just don't understand. They
I
don't
have
stress test these things. Like, what is
I
going
have
on?
no idea. And I haven't read that article yet, but jeez. As somebody who is a father, that gives me pause about letting my own kids using any product that would enable that. So that is very concerning.
Let's move into the AI agents, which you mentioned that company that's killing it.
Crew, yes.
For those who don't live in this world, how would you explain what
Sure.
an AI agent is and why they matter?
Great. So if you've ever seen a self-driving car and they're starting to roll out across the world, those are AI agents. And the way that we define it, it's software that can sense the world around it, has sensors. It can make decisions on its own and it completes those tasks. And then it often learns over time. And that can be software, it could be used to go through all of your emails and actually parse them and sort them and do first level responses for you or flag things for you. Or maybe at work, it's getting all the data for you and generating a report for you. And then it actually creates summaries. And maybe it's an app that will book your travel for you, like a personal assistant would. It's different than a traditional large language model, which usually can just spit out text. An AI agent is supposed to actually complete tasks. Every large language model like OpenAI and Anthropic and Google Gemini, they're rolling out agents too. So the two technologies are already interdependent but becoming entwined. Up to a point, it's like if everybody has a personal assistant, right, or an executive assistant that's actually completing tasks, or a research assistant, right, or a paralegal in the legal world that's completing your research and preparing your documents. That is like an AI agent. Yes, that's doing that. Now, here's where it becomes different. In this world, you can have 5, 10, 100, 1,000 AI agents working for you. Or you might have one AI agent that's orchestrating all of them and they're spinning up and doing the work for you. So that is a difference we're seeing as well.
Chatbots just go back and forth and the agents actually do a
The
task. So I like how
yes.
you
So the agent should
explain
actually
that.
complete a task. So a
Yeah.
chatbot, you could talk to it and it might direct you, go to this website to read this, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
here's the FAQ, or let me pull up that information. But the AI agent should replicate a human and say, I understand your problem and I'm actually going to fix it. Like, here's the software
Love it.
download
We
you
need more
need,
of that.
or let me send you a new product, or let me give you a refund, right? Like, should go to the full solution and bring it and solve it.
When you mention it of, talk about and then there's one and then there's 1,000, I feel like for the average person, they would just get totally overwhelmed by this idea. Will there be a moment where this is just so accessible and easy where we don't need to think about it like that? Because again, I feel like the average person maybe checks out when we start talking. Or
Yes.
maybe I'm wrong.
No, you're not. So there is a term called it's a meta agent or your primary agent, and you would just interface with that or just a few of those agents. And they would be managing and orchestrating all of those other agents. We call them execution agents that would actually complete that task. So in this world, we would spend less time behind screens, laptops, tablets, your phone, because the AI agent would be interfacing with you as that and doing all those tasks, filling out your expense report, going to the airline's website, booking that flight, managing your emails. You don't have to go into the inbox, doing a lot of those things for you. So you could be focusing on the things that you wanted. And so that's kind of this change, right? Where we should free up time. So right now, humans spend years of their life online. because we are now digital workers or knowledge workers. But if AI agents can complete a lot of those tasks that we don't really want to or need to, then we should get back to the real world.
We are in this time where we're going to see a lot of wins and a lot of fails and costly mistakes. I was going to reference this Air Canada customer service bot that gave the wrong info. We just talked
Yeah,
about
I heard about
Meta
that.
messing up at a
Mhm.
big scale. What should we all learn from these kind of fails? I mean, is this just par for the course, or do you think this impacts the industry? It impacts what you need to do, how you look at companies?
We are
Yeah.
adopting new technologies. We're experimenting. We should be allowing people some grace to make mistakes and quickly recover. And that's part of the innovation process. And we should expect more of those gaffes to happen. It's a sign that we're trying new things. So I think it's normal. I think it's part of the innovation process.
So if someone's looking to build something in AI or integrate AI into their business in 2025, what's the best place to start?
Well, they should probably be attending conferences where people who are actually deploying it, other people like them. They should also be talking to the experts. There's quite a few consulting firms that are getting good at rolling this out. They're making a lot of money at it. So that's how to think about it for businesses. Anywhere where we see a human that's repeating the same task over and over online on digital devices, that's something that could be used and automated with an AI agent. And so looking for those repetitive things, especially if they're low risk, not a lot at stake, that's where you can use AI. One of the first use cases we see companies doing it is they put AI on top of all of their knowledge repositories, and people can just talk to the AI and because it sucks up with information in a natural language, like all of the legal docs, all of the help docs, all of the knowledge bases, and let the employees converse with it and prove it. And then you open that up to your customers. That's a very common use case
Low risk means it won't kill someone probably.
where the company wouldn't topple if a project failed.
Well, speaking of conferences and events is a great way to get into an industry or just see what's out there. You keep mentioning Llama Lounge. It's the biggest AI event community in San Francisco that you built.
Yes.
Why is that important this day and age? I actually feel like IRL events, speaking, anything like that, one is going to be the last human art form.
Yes, it is.
And it's really important.
We have to think like, why do AI founders, the CEOs of these startups, why do they want to meet in person? There's 200 AI events per month in the San
That is
Francisco,
crazy.
Silicon Valley Bay area. That's several per day. And each weekend, there's usually two hackathons. Each has around 200 to 300 developers building, and they compete two at a time. Why do people want to be together? Because that's human too.
Yeah.
So if we can automate the things we don't want to do and we can exchange information and there's deals that are happening and people are, making business relationships and friendships, that's the true root of what humans want to do. So I do run an event series. I founded it over 2 years ago called Llama Lounge. And it's typically 300 to 400 AI founders, 75 or so VCs, and around 50 corporate AI leaders all in one room. And there's pitches from 10 startups, and there's a couple speeches, and then demo tables, and then networking. This is an ecosystem. Like I bring the market together so deals can actually happen. Usually there's hundreds of people that are not approved to attend. We just want the leaders, the CEOs and the investors and the corporate leaders all in one room so the decisions and deals actually happen. I really love community. It's one of the most important things, and it really sets me apart from other VCs. Like how many VCs run a community like that? It's like less than 10.
And they're not accessible. Like, how hard is it to reach Andreessen?
It's very hard.
You have to be invited. It's like a special exclusive invite.
It's true. So we try to open the doors wide and have a big platform for the ecosystem in the Bay Area. And people fly in from all over the world, and we welcome them.
Yeah, we got to co-host one together. I've
Yeah,
been wanting to come up to SF and to do one with you.
please.
Maybe do a little live AI download with a special
We'd
guest.
love to have you. We've had other amazing folks, influencers, content creators that are the MC of the event. And you could lead the pitches and introduce all of the
Yeah.
founders and ask them questions. And I invite you to come up and do that. Let's put something
Oh
on the
my God.
date.
All right. It's happening.
It's going to
It's
happen.
happening.
We'll do it
Okay.
in Q4 this year or Q1 next year. It's on.
Amazing.
High
I
five.
love it. I can't believe we're already talking about next year. It's true. A lot of my stuff is already moving into next year. It's wild. Two last questions.
For sure.
So, one, you just mentioned creators. I mean, a lot of the tech and the creator scene have been in the past very separated, including LA and SF. But how are you intersecting with the creator community right now? Because you also have such amazing thoughts as a BC, which is really rare, on how creators should be approaching AI?
Because I am a creator and I was a creator and I made money being a creator and like I'm around the social media. I was early in web 2 like with all the creators. So creators are at a real crossroads right now. It's like, do you adopt AI or not? Like, do you stay true to who you are? Or you and I were at the same conference in Dubai, the 1 billion follower summit and there was creators there and the tech companies and startups that support AI and technology, and like we got to hear from people and hear their fears and hear who is adopting it. There was somebody who was creating content, who creates science content, and he has a very small team, and he is very efficient pumping out content every day, and it's getting views and he's monetizing. So we're seeing new models unfold, and I think it's important that creators don't only use it for content production but also for operations, scheduling, marketing, sales, right? Communication. So using it across the entire business. You have to think of being a creator as a business. You want to use automation for your back office as much as possible. I've been investing in the agent space for over a year. And it's going to be mainstream in maybe a year. But I think what comes after that and to prepare for, you've heard of large language models. There's another type of model called a world model. And world models predict what humans do in the physical world. Not just humans, like cars and, traffic and weather and actual, people and animals, right? And so combining that plus robotics means that will enable all of those things to become automated, and we'll see robotics become automated when agents and world models come together. So those are new technology trends that I'm tracking.
Thank you so much again to Jeremiah for joining me on the show again. You can follow him everywhere, Jeremiah Owyang. Link, of course, in the show notes and description. A huge thanks to AI Venture Lab, powered by INSEAD, for sponsoring this episode. They're helping founders everywhere build smarter with AI at the core, and you could be the next one. The AI Founder Sprint is 8 weeks, fully virtual, no fees, no equity, just proven frameworks, world-class mentors, and a community that's shaping the future of venture. Go check them out at venture-lab.ai. I think you'll love what they're doing, and you could actually build something really cool with them. So check them out, venture-lab.ai. And Hivelighter for sponsoring our series. You've got to check out the AI Download Collection. We've curated all the top headlines from today's episode and also previous episodes, so it's very easy to follow everything that we're covering. Click the Hivelighter link in our show notes to get smarter. Muso Media also helps us record and publish this series. Check them out at musomedia.com. If you love this episode, please support us, subscribe, rate, and share. It helps me keep growing this show independently. I've got so much more coming your way, so I'll see you next time on the AI Download.